Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this lovely little Sunday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. But before we get into Bitcoin, we have plenty to discuss there. Let's talk about a little bit of Eurovision. Have to comment on that for the Americans out there who are not familiar with what Eurovision is. It's basically after World War II, the Europeans decided that instead of killing each other, they're just going to sing at each other because Germany got a little bit crazy, with picking on certain groups, we'll say. Anyways, Finland absolutely fucking killed it last night. Blind channel with whatever the fuck their name is, Dark Side, killing it. Unfortunately did not win, but they should have definitely. However, it's metal, so it's just not gonna gel with the majority of the world. But goddamn, man, they absolutely fucking smoked it. And you know how they should have won? You know how they're actually the real winners? Because the only goddamn song that you're gonna probably listen to again, even Sanna Marin, the prime minister, the youngest prime minister in the world, I do believe. Commented on Twitter, I saw. By the way, Sanna, if you're listening right now, please let me become a Finnish citizen. I'm one of the only people from a first world country who actually want to fucking live here. I pay my taxes. I have 2 businesses, and I single-handedly kept Verkkokauppa alive during 2020. Anyways, with that said, please just legalize Krown. Anyways, we got plenty to talk about with good old Bitcoin right now in a more somber tone because we have to prepare for CME Open coming up a little bit later today, and of course Monday going to be, well, a big day in my opinion. So with that said, into the Krown Chain application we go, which can be found at app.krownchain.net. It is 100% free, and what do we see over here? We do see plenty of things. Bitcoin dominance around 45.1, and that does imply, or at least that does lead into the theory that we've been looking at for a couple months now, that as Bitcoin came down to that macro level just below 40%, that was going to be a major pivot in the market. Unfortunately, it was a pivot that in terms of US dollar, people probably did not want to see. It could have gone either way, where Bitcoin actually broke out to the upside and, made its way probably to like 80 or 90,000 bucks, and that would have destroyed the dominance ratio. But instead, nope, we took the downside displeasures in this one. But that's okay, because with downside displeasures within a macro bullish market, I do believe that there are major opportunities. Maybe not though right now. Anyways, fear and greed index also extremely low right here, 2 out of 14 read, which is one of the lowest reads that we have seen consistently. Really since coronavirus dump times from last year, March 2020. We've seen this come down, I believe, to about 11 on the actual big, massive dump dildo party. I think that was Wednesday or Thursday. And what else do we see on top of that? Open interest coming down another couple hundred million, it looks like, from yesterday to today. But more or less, Bitcoin just kind of ranged on the lows. Now, this would still have a somewhat good vision, like I suppose, long term. This does suggest that longs are essentially running this market right now, essentially unloading their positions. And when we do see open interest start to actually move back up and break the range, which we're actually going to look at soon enough, it just kind of spoiled surprise. We're going to be probably about about 35,000 bucks to 42,000 bucks. Then I would be looking for a nice trending move within there. But we're dealing with humongous numbers right now, so the ranges are naturally big. And as we did say yesterday on the live stream, which I want to kind of dial back in again today, in my opinion, in my experience, this is really the time to be a trader, not an investor, because, well, to be fair, I mean, do you nibble here if you are like long term, like thinking 5-10 years down the road? Probably fine, to be quite honest with you, at least a little bit. But overall, the ranges are massive. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of volatility, and realistically, for myself, and I know a lot of other people in the Discord who are full-time traders as well, these sort of times, like, this is where I actually do my fucking work. For the majority of this whole run for the last 6-7 months, just been mostly holding, so it's like pretty boring, but it's nice. It's nice to do other things, but quite boring. Anyways, my favorite video game, as always, is trading, so it's nice to have a very eventful week this past week. I understand that this was not the best for some people out there, but understand that this channel, as always, is focused on traders. Doesn't mean that we discriminate against other creeds and nationalities around here, but just understand, who this content's kind of created for. And we'll comment on a few like investor related things as well. Anyways, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. We do actually see a few altcoins actually having a decent day from yesterday to today since we last spoke. Bitcoin Diamond, Theta, Hedera Hashgraph, Theta Fuel, Algorand, Monero, Dogecoin, Nexo, KuCoin Token, and Ravencoin all on the winners list. Some of them even in double digits there too. But I do remember that Bitcoin Diamond was on the top 10 worst coins for like a week straight. So I imagine this is just a very pitiful bounce right there. And on the top 10 worst coins, we actually see Solana, Polygon, which is kind of funny because those were two of the probably the best ones. I won't say the other one which I let out yesterday because I don't know what the fuck that's all about. If you're curious, just look at my Instagram. Fair enough. Perhaps I'll join the cult. But overall, a lot of tokens actually getting smacked on the face. I mean, minus 20% is not anything to be to be happy about, obviously. Now, I want to remind you that the Krown Chain application actually can be found on mobile now too. You can even install into your phone as well, just through like a mobile browser, and you can actually get the charts on there as well. And we're going to be updating this with more and more content as this month kind of progresses. We got a whole lot of new things kind of lined up with that. So I'll just leave that there. Again, it is 100% free, so take advantage of it because, well, like we created it so that people, mainly so that could use it, and then we're like, well, fuck it, you know, we could just create a platform and that people can use it. So anyways, okay, yes, into the market data tab we go. What do we see over here? We do see that open interest obviously has been coming down significantly. We did see, I just want to kind of reiterate this here to kind of follow up for the people who've been on this channel for a while. Remember when we looked at 9 billion as a kind of a baseline? Remember, that was like a big, sort of warning signal when Bitcoin also broke structure here too, of course. But, those two things in conjunction with each other, that's what kind of did switch us on to, if you're looking for longs, it's like time to maybe not, basically what I'm trying to say is, it's time to be looking for something different within the context of a bull run right here, probably a little bit of downside. And that's exactly what we got on this Wyckoff distribution top. Now kind of getting our first markdown. And I believe if my Wyckoff memory serves me correctly, this will be your first throwback. So that's what I'm a little bit concerned with right now. I will offer up a little bit of hopium on the other side as well, of course, but I do want to be, very much subdued, again, understand like this channel, we're traders here. We don't necessarily need like the fucking, we don't need to fucking, cheapen the message of this very interesting asset class, by just being blindly bullish all the fucking time. So with that in mind, let's go see what the funny rate is looking like on the global scale. And yes, we do see several exchanges actually pretty deep in the negative territory. So you actually are getting paid to hold longs in OKXBit, Bybit, BitMEX, QRB, and even Binance, all posting negative rates, cracking at not basically zero, and just a few exchanges like kind of barely above positive. But that is also a decent sign that we're a lot closer to a low here. I don't think that I don't think like the macro bull run is done, but I do think that Bitcoin probably takes a breather for most of the summer coming up here, and we go through an accumulation phase. Anyways. This would be suggestive that Bitcoin can bounce pretty, pretty heftily if it wants to. These ranges again are huge, but anything below $42,000 is just yet again another lower high, and lower highs and lower lows is what makes your downturn. And until that reverses, it's really, I think you play longs at your own peril if you're looking to like hold them. If you want to just trade, then hell yeah, man. I mean, this is the time to be doing it in my opinion. But I also want to go back on over here to the market analytics for the options market right here. Now, a couple of people made comments yesterday saying that, but Krown, because I said that a positive call put ratio in favor of calls is, a little more on the bearish side. Now, that's not fully conclusive. I'll dive into that in a second here, but a few people are saying, but Krown, how could that be bearish? Doesn't that mean that people are expecting upside? No, because options are typically used in conjunction with spot price action in order to kind of hedge your positions. So if you're long calls, then what are you doing? Well, you're covering yourself, right? And if you're long calls, what are you covering? You're covering a fucking short position is what you're doing. You're protecting your upside is what you're trying to do. And vice versa for being long puts. Now, of course, you can obviously play these against each other. You can do spreads, strangles, straddles, whatever the fuck, and covers. But I do think that does deserve a little bit of respect right now. And we can see very clearly from the open interest on both the $37,000 strike and the $43,000 strike right here. That is essentially the range right now, as far as CME does suggest. Now, problem with that is that, well, we're going to look at CME chart in a second, and I'll just leave it like that. How about that? So yeah. Anyways, yes, we can all see the expirations on these as well. It looks like a lot of people are playing the June monthlies right here, the June 25th expiration. Big on the call strike, it looks like. Although we don't, I'm guessing it's going to be the $43,000 strike right there. So, I do think that Bitcoin's going to get a pretty hefty bounce after it maybe tests another low here, maybe somewhere down around about 30 to $31,000, perhaps a little bit lower than that. But overall, I do think that Bitcoin will put in another, major bounce, maybe even does put in a reversal. So even if you are like super bearish, if you disagree with me and say that this is, the beginning of a bear market, you can still very likely expect that Bitcoin is going to bounce pretty fucking heftily, probably into the mid or low $40,000 region, and that's probably at the point where you actually have a fucking opportunity, at least in my opinion. But for right now, Bitcoin after a 50% drop, it's usually not, the probabilities are not going to be in your favor, typically speaking, after something like that. In the mid to low $40,000, yeah, I mean, probably, well, yes, I mean, quite literally, yes. But for right now, no, I don't think so. Anyways, put call ratio right now is 0.61. So again, still favoring calls right there, which I do think is a little bit more, diabolical. So keep that in mind. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the extra price charts themselves. I want to start with this chart over here. I want to really dial in CME chart today because this one is the most telling in my opinion. Now, this is obviously not trading over the weekend as it does trade on a regular market schedule. So we do see that Friday closure closed about $35,280. Technically speaking, this price over here, somewhat relevant as well. Anyways, my point is that it did close below the bottom side Toronto band, no matter which price you're using right here, as that was about 37,380-ish region. That is a bit concerning. I'll tell you for a few reasons. First and foremost, because we did essentially cough up Thursday's bounce, which was a pretty impressive bounce and really did bring into the conversation that Bitcoin, potentially could have bottomed. We saw some bottoming signals, yes. Were they confirmed? No. We did see several, and I still think that they have a chance to confirm. But the way that Friday did sell off like this, especially around the closure, in my experience from traditional markets, is not a good thing. Now, what typically happens when you sell off on a Friday to close after a big down week is over the weekend, people panic. And then on Monday, when things open back up again, people sell. And then typically Tuesday is actually a turnaround. It does have that colloquial name, Turnaround Tuesday now, doesn't it? So with that in mind, just looking at this chart right here, I do favor the downside, to be quite honest with you. I do think that Bitcoin very likely does test somewhere down around low $30,000 region again. And then at that point, do I think that Bitcoin could put in another major low? Yes. Whether you're bullish or bearish, I highly doubt that Bitcoin's just going to V bottom out of here. If Bitcoin was going to V bottom out of here, that would have happened Thursday and Friday. We did not get continuation on Friday. In fact, you can quite literally see as soon as Bitcoin even tested around Thursday high, immediately sold off, which is not a good sign. We also see the 20 symbol cross and downside of the 55 right here too. It's not a death sentence or anything like that, but momentum is turning down here, obviously, as we do see SMI continues on the histogram increasing to the downside, even the MACD as well. And ADX DMI is still favoring the DMI minus, although we do not see a positive slope on the DMI minus. So with that in mind, again, I think that we're a lot closer to getting a major bounce, or perhaps even reversal, than we are not, but it's still going to take some time. Here's what I want to dial in right now. So this is, I can say you can either look at this as a Wyckoff top or not. Look, it is a fucking Wyckoff top. I mean, this is nearly textbook in the way that it was presented. And this took about from late February and then breaking down in middle of May, okay? Middle of May. And how do you know that this is like a textbook Wyckoff? Well, mostly because of this failed breakout right here. You can be bullish right here on this, on this try right here, but the second that this one opened on a gap down, you can still play trend. You can still say that it's trying to see upside, but we started to say, hey, daily starting to break trend downside right here. This is time to be a little bit more cognizant of a lower high. And guess what? We did get a lower high right below $59,000. Anyways, okay. So what was I just about to get into? Yes, this took from late February. Breakdown was middle of May. So I'm gonna count my months here because I'm American and I don't know my fucking months. But okay, so basically February, we'll just kind of mark that one off. What comes after February? March, April, May, basically. So about 3 months. You can typically look, a general rule of thumb is the amount of time that you spend consolidating on your highs is about the same time that you'll consolidate on your lows. Not a hard rule, but around that time. So is Bitcoin just going to V bottom out of here? I highly doubt that. I think Bitcoin's going to spend at least 2 to 3 months, maybe even 4 months on the lows. And you'll probably see something like this if it is going to bottom out at low $30,000. You'll see something like this. Leading out to the end of end of summer. If you see something like this, that's going to be extremely fucking bullish leading into fall and an end of year. And you can still have targets maybe even in 6 digits coming into maybe late this year or sometime next year. I happen to think that probably does coincide with an ETF as well, but I'll leave that up to interpretation. Anyways, wink wink nudge nudge. Anyways, what I also want to talk about right now is, of course, our spot price action. So looking at the daily right here, this one obviously is trading over the weekend, and you are getting some conflicting signals, obviously, because this is showing that momentum is waning to the downside right now. But still, I do not like this in the way that this is postulated right here. Looking at the 2-day and 3-day, we are trending below the bottom side Toronto band on a 2-day. Very rarely does that even happen in Bitcoin's history, and when it does, it's typically bad. It's bad, okay? Crypto's bad, okay? You know, you can see this over here. To be quite honest with you, I think that we're going through. Okay, I'm going to use some bad terminology right here. Understand that this is not perfect, but I think that what we're going through right now is like a mini bear market within the context of a macro bull market, and it's really time. It's really time to be a lot more protective right now. The idea is to stay in the game. You know, you don't want to you don't want to get liquidated, and I don't think that there's a humongous rush to get back into this one. You know, just kind of going back through the annals of history here, there's actually very few times where it even has trending below the bottom side Toronto band. Really, the only times that we've actually done it are very, very few and far between. If I go all the way back on over here, we have a couple times. In fact, this like the most obvious one that's kind of akin to what we're doing right now would be 2013, which is actually what I think we're doing. Funnily enough, if you do see in 2013, Bitcoin was down about from closing base to closing base, about 64%. And thus far, how much have we done here from top to bottom? Well, we've done about 52%. I'm just curious, what would 60% look like? Okay, let's just ignore that. All right, we'll just ignore that one. But I also want to bring up a few other things for maybe a little bit of hopium. So one of the big ones for me right now is actually a fundamental based indicator, the hash ribbons. Until this prints a blue buy signal, I think that this is all fucking risk. This is all risk. The reason why I say that is because just this one has historically been more or less perfect in calling the momentous moves to the upside. So what am I talking about right here? I'm talking about these signals. So you get a capitulation signal right here. The solid green is kind of meaningless in my opinion. If you're looking at that as a buy signal, I would strongly challenge you to look at what the history has been, and we'll go through it right now actually. What you're really looking for is a blue buy signal, and even after that it takes, you know, on average about a week to two, which we'll go through in a second here, in order to get that next momentous move to the upside. So until we get that blue buy signal, I am not in any rush to like be, you know, accumulating myself for potentially a long-term position. I'm just trading short terms, you know, short-term, medium term right now. I think that's completely fine. There's a lot of opportunity. I'm not looking to hold any positions right now. That's just my personal proclivity. Maybe that's relevant to you or not. I can't say that, but I can give you my reasons for that. Anyways, we can go through the history of these signals, and you know, you can see for yourself. And the good thing about this is that we actually do have a lot of history for this one. We do see capitulation right here. This happens on the 20th of October. We get the blue buy signal on the 1st of December. So that takes about a month and a half, right? So 1st of December is where? That's about right here. By the way, Bitcoin actually does drop down after that. It does put in a higher low, of course, too. But about 2 weeks later, in 14th, 15th of December, Bitcoin trends again once the upside. That's kind of what I'm looking for, essentially. Same thing over here. We do see that this capitulation signal happens on the 23rd, 24th of May. We get the blue buy signal in the 11th of June. So what's that? About a month and a half. Again, my counting is very poor, but but you know, fair enough, close enough. So who cares? And what happens after that? It takes about from 11th of June to next momentous move. I'd say about 24th of June. So about a week and a half after that in order to get moving once again. Essentially gives you a warning signal for this next move. What about this one over here? This one coming after coronavirus dump times, getting the capitulation signal on 17th of March, getting the blue buy signal on the 23rd of April, about, you know, a little bit over a month it looks like. And then from that blue buy signal to next move, that was 23rd of April to 27th of April. So about 4 days. This one a little bit on the shorter side to be fair. But again, you know, that was a much move right here. That's kind of like your warning for, you know, maybe you do want to consider something like that. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Going back to the prior one over here, we do see capitulation signal on the 17th, 18th, or the 19th of November. We see blue buy signal on the 27th of December. That is about a little bit over a month once again. And from blue buy signal to next move, that's 26th of December to 5th of January. So about 2 weeks there as well. And then nice move into the coronavirus sometimes. We'll just ignore that one too. Anyways, back into 2018 over here, 20th of October, capitulation signal. Okay, where's the blue buy signal? On the 10th of January. This one actually quite, you know, this one more like 2 months. So this one definitely a more long form one. And even then, after the blue buy signal, this one really takes a long time to unfuck itself. Kind of similar to one of the other signals that we saw where it does come down and make another low, albeit a higher low. And then from that blue buy signal on the 9th, 10th of January to next major move, like a phenomenal move to the upside, was 20th of March. So this one did take quite some time. By the way, keep in mind, this was a 3 to 4 month long consolidation on the lows, similar to this 3 to 4 month long consolidation before breaking down right here in the sunny triangle. Where's our next sort of, yes, okay, we got one over here. This one is also very interesting to me here too, where Bitcoin spends a lot of time consolidating on the highs, almost 3 months it looks like, from January to July. Okay, wow, actually a lot longer than that, 6-7 months it looks like, if I have my months counted properly. But we get the capitulation signal on 29th of July. We get the blue buy signal over here on the 30th of August. So what? About a month on this one. And then this one almost plays out immediately from 20th of August to 2nd of December. So a few days there as well. Going back a few more, I don't want to bore you too much with this bullshit, but I do think that it's rather interesting. I want to call out one signal that was, or a couple signals here that were not good signals, although I don't think that this is really similar to what we're doing right now. Obviously, these ones right here were not good timers. In the long run of things, they kind of were, I suppose. It was kind of like the middle of this accumulation phase right here. Anyways, from original capitulation signal to buy signal was 2nd of May all the way over here to 17th of June. And what is that? May to June. What, a few months right there. And then that move, got sold into and then tried up after that. This one, probably the only one that I'd say was a failed signal in the way that I really want to see a signal. Now, ultimately, if you did actually use this as kind of an accumulation signal, well, fine, fine. It's just not a great timer right there. In this case over here, same thing. Capitulation signal on the 14th of December, buy signal on the 27th of January, and that was kind of the same thing here too. But we do see that this did dig itself out, and all these buy signals are kind of on the lows again. So again, very very similar signature right here. And to be fair, these signals within this phase, this was like an actual bear market. I don't think that Bitcoin's in like an actual bear market right now. Could it be? Could it be? Yes, but is it confirmed just yet? No, I mean, this was already after Bitcoin had dropped down, what, 80, almost 90%. So a little bit of a different phase right there. Same thing over here. I won't go through these last few ones because you can probably get the gist of it by now. But I did want to present that it's not perfect. There were a couple of failed signals there, definitely, but the vast majority of them pretty damn good. So I do want to now go into, I believe, the shorter term timeframes and offer up a little bit more hopium for you. Did we print an actual? Go to the daily right here. Did we print actual 100 percentile just yet? We did. 21st of May, 100 percentile right there. We finally fucking got it. When was 21st of May? That was 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. Is this consistent amongst all exchanges? Yes, it is. BitMEX, same thing. Coinbase, same thing. Finex, same thing as well. So I do like to see some sort of volatility-based indicator get way the fuck up there. Now, what I also want to show you too is I want to show you that once you get to the 100 percentile, a lot of the time when it cools off and then crosses the moving average on this, that's actually when you do see a phase shift. Where's the last time that we have something like this, or a continuation in this case? Well, this one, did we get to 100? No, we did not. We did get to 100 over here, and this actually was like a decent pivot right here, obviously. So we got to 100 percentile right here. It didn't actually cross the moving average till right here. Guess what that was? That was to the downside. So it is contra to the trend. It is contra to the trend is what I'm trying to show. Same thing over here. We do see this was coronavirus dump time, 100 percentile. And then what happens after we cross the moving average on it right here? That was at about 6,300. And then Bitcoin just floats its way up after that. In hindsight, that would have been a great long-term signal. I didn't really get long-term bullish on this, like macro bullish on this until about $11,500 myself. So I can't claim that one on my side. Same thing over here in 2018, 2019 on this massive drop, 100 percentile right here gets wrangled down below the moving average just barely, and this kind of lets you know that things were essentially leveling out and going through a bit of a phase shift. So again, you can go through the go through the annals of history on Bitcoin on this one as well. But overall, would that imply that Bitcoin has some more time here? Well, yes. I mean, it's extremely fucking far away from it right now. So it's got a little bit to go, you might say. Also, Bitcoin coughing up and getting its first open and closure. Its first open and closure below the 200 simple. Since when? Since coronavirus dump time. Wow. Powerful. And before that, it was, oh dear Lord, that was like the end of your 2018 hopium too. Now, to be fair, this does not have negative slope just yet, and I really put a lot of weight on the actual slope of this, but overall, I'm essentially looking for a range between the 200 simple or 200 exponential average and also the 377 down here. Whereas the 377 down around about 32,000 bucks, and it looks like Bitcoin's kind of slinking over right now as we speak. Anyways, Bitcoin RSI getting way down there, but that doesn't really mean too much in and of itself, as we unfortunately picked on someone yesterday for. All jokes aside, at the end of the day, I really look at RSI for divergences. But there is one signature on the weekly that I do think deserves some respect, and I do think we should talk about right here. Called it out a few times. I spoke a lot about it, especially in 2019. And what I want to show here, hey motherfucker, there we go. What I want to show here is kind of like a range, and I look at this range right here between about 54 and 48 and some odd change. Let's just call it 48 and a quarter as a range of phase. Essentially, right now we're actually below it. Oh dear lord! But you can look at this as long as Bitcoin is kind of basing off of this level, between these levels, in the context of its bull runs, those actually have been major lows. You can see right here, boom. All right, to take off my thingies, but let's just put them back on. Right here, boom. That's your 2017 low. Obviously, after that, it actually did go down for a while. So that was a good, good buy shift to the other side. And then all throughout 2015 to 2018 on all these lows, we do see tests down to this region right here. And then same thing more recently on the break from about 8,500 to kind of where we're at right now. Now we are basing on it right now, but admittedly we are below it. So I would say that's a little bit more concerning. It's not conclusive in and of itself. I would not say that that is to be used on its own, but in conjunction with something else. What will the other thing be? A weekly trend, my friend. And where's our weekly trend right now? Weekly trend is technically not a downtrend just yet. We do have a top in, yes, but a top is nothing without the context of where the prior low was. And where's the last prior low? Right here. I need like a clear stop and reverse point. I would say that this is not really it for me. Neither is this. This would be it really. And where is that? That is about 32,000 bucks on a closing basis for the weekly. So I do think that Bitcoin likely does test back down around there, and I would be looking for another bounce around that level as well. I think Bitcoin's like really fucking beat up here, and it really wouldn't take too much to get at least another pity bounce. And personally speaking, I don't think that Bitcoin's entering into like a long-term bear market. I think that it's gonna enter into like a long-term accumulation phase. Is probably best case scenario right now. I don't think that it's gonna be a what's it called? A V bottom out of here, as we explained before. Also, Bitcoin about to break the 21 exponential average, which, if we go back on over here, let's just take everything off for a second so we can efficiently show this, something like this. In Bitcoin's bull market, it's one of the memes of this market where it likes to essentially base off that level. And when it gets wrangled below, well, then you go through your mini bear markets. Now, again, I can't help but look at 2013 right here. We got that quick closure below and then regained it over the next few weeks and, leveled out over the next 2 to 3 months, actually, before getting this next run involved. And, Bitcoin actually blasted off quite significantly there. From about 131 bucks to 1,100 bucks, 745% gainer. Pretty impressive move. So that's, history does not repeat, but it rhymes, as the saying goes. And I think that that's what we're doing here. At least that's what I hope in my deepest of hopium within my plums, as Mark B would say. So let me put these back on. There we go. I need all my beautiful colors right there. There we go. Lovely. All right, sweet. Okay, now what did I want to get to next? Let's go through the lower term timeframes because they're actually moving right now. Looks like Bitcoin's dropping back down below 37. So, as we discussed yesterday on the live stream, don't be seduced by these short-term moves. Yes, they are nice, but if you're like a long-term trader, I imagine that a lot of people, might have got scared out of their positions somewhere below 40,000 bucks, and every time that they see Bitcoin ticking up here for a few thousand bucks, they're like, "Oh fuck, I missed it, man! I need to get back in, man! I need to get back in! I'm gonna miss the run, man!" Well, realistically, man, it's just lower highs, even on the lower term timeframes right now. This is concerning, and one of my rules after a major drop like this is I don't look to hold any positions, especially as long as like even the fucking 4 hour for Bitcoin is in a downtrend. What's the problem with the downtrend right now? Where's our last lower high? Well, it's 41,000 bucks about. So as long as we're below there, the 21 is just a bully for price action here. And as long as we have these lower highs and the same lows, what do we have potentially in place? Well, we do have, hey, you fuck. Oh, let me try, hold on. Hey, oh, whoopsies. Hold on, let's try this. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to get a nice horizontal. We do have essentially a descending triangle kind of in the formation right now. So, Bitcoin, like I said yesterday, can rally up all the way to 39,000 bucks, and it's just another lower high. Again, as long as it's below about 41, that is just another lower high. That also actually does imply that a Bitcoin can come above this level right here on a 4-hour. I think I had that level for like a higher term time frame or whatever. Then I would be looking for a nice run into the mid 40,000 bucks territory, somewhere around 45,500 right here. Actually, let's just mark this area off, something like this. So I'd be looking for. And now it starts to look pretty good, at least for potentially another major opportunity for a short position. No. Well, actually, yes, but this would be a good pivot on the market. And so if Bitcoin were to start to trade back above this region, I'd really start to look at this as maybe it is a V bottom. Maybe it actually does, salvage itself. But for right now, this descending triangle would have a measure move on it. If it does break to the downside, where would I consider confirmation of break? That would be on any sort of a closure below about 36,000. About 36,000 bucks on a 4-hour. I'd be looking for a move down here towards about $31,000. So technically it wouldn't even be a new low if you're looking at a wick basis, but a new closing low, yeah, I would be looking for something like that if that condition is met. And at that point, I'd really start to look for Bitcoin to level out a bit, get more boring over the next few months, and I'd be looking for some sort of signals of divergence at that point. Remember, the daily is really fucking beat up as far as momentum oscillators go, so it really wouldn't take too much to get a bull div call here. Do we have it right now? Absolutely fucking not. So, Jesus Christ, sir, what the fuck are you doing over there? Elsa's like throwing shit around and trying to break her whole setup right now. I built you that table and you destroy it. Why? Why do you do this? Why do you hate my work? Shut it. She says shut it. Anyways, we're gonna go back on over here. So what I also want to look at on spot price actions, momentum oscillators right now, we do see 12-hour is doing what? Well, it's going to cross the downside with any sort of with the next closure below 38,400. This would also be a rejection of getting out of the bearish control zone, in my opinion as well. That'd be quite telling for another move to the downside. If we go over here to CME, CME is having a bit of a bearish reset too. Daily is still obviously down. I wonder what the weekly looks like. The weekly is actually very interesting to me because it is coming to the edge of the bullish control zone. So you typically do see a little bit of flippy floppy behavior around that region. So fair enough. CME actually showing a little bit more interesting stuff on that if you do want some more hopium injected into your veins. But as far as the daily goes for spot price action, again, just being bullied right here. But I do like this area right here, again, right around 31.3. So that's rather interesting to me because if Bitcoin, as we did identify earlier, if Bitcoin does take that further road to the south side, we actually would be basing it right around that region, funnily enough. And those typically are actually, at the very least, bouncy bounce territory. So take that as you will. Anyways, 2-day, what are we looking at? Yep, still coming down, but getting close there. What about 3-day? Still coming down as well, as long as below 50,000 bucks. So, if I had to call it right now, I do think that Bitcoin has another downside move, and I would give a chance for Bitcoin to kind of level out there. Here's the thing, though. Where do I start to look for if Bitcoin starts to break below 32,000 bucks on a daily or that next targeted region? I start to look towards 25,000 bucks. I think I have it marked off over here actually. No, I do not. What the fuck, man? Krown, get your damn charts right. So I do want to mark this area off as well, of course. Be right between about 26 and 25 here is where I'd be looking towards. So fair enough. Do have to have a plan for what happens if the bottom truly drops out in that regard, and I'd still be looking for about the same thing there as well. We just politely move this down, and it's all good. Something like this, right? Anyways, regardless of which path it does take, as long as it does hold these levels, I do actually like this for the long term. Continuation, maybe like later this year. But I do think that Bitcoin's done for a while now. I strongly believe that Bitcoin's done for a while now. Just short-term and medium-term moves to the upside. And again, Bitcoin can easily trade back up to mid $40,000 region. And guess what? That's actually just another lower high on the daily. So what I would also say about this is that as it stands right now, look, here's a very sombering detail about this price action. Where's our last lower high? Is it right here? No. Is it right here? No. Is it right here? Yes. and that's all the way at $59,000. So Bitcoin's going to be operating on lower highs for a while, and when if and when Bitcoin does pop up, which I strongly believe it will, you have to be on lower high watch first. I've always found it best to trade with a trend until proven otherwise, even though my opinion is that Bitcoin probably does bottom out somewhere around low $30,000 region. We do see several signs that it is, starting to catch a few bids down around there, and there is some interest. But again, I wouldn't expect this to just flip flop around immediately. It's going to take some time. And you this to be true too. How do you know this to be true? Beside not even using fucking TA or FA or fucking 4chan analysis, how do you know this to be true? Go onto crypto Twitter, and what will you see? You'll see once again inspirational memes are back in action, and all your favorite crypto influencers are posting fucking memes that it's just hopium stuff to kind of get people to like and retweet and whatnot for engagement. So fair enough. That's their business model. Perhaps they provide some value as well. But I usually look at that as like a really bad sign when people start posting like fucking inspirational memes about I have diamond hands. Yeah, it's like, oh, only the diamond hands prevail because they truly believe. It's like, what the fuck? How does what the fuck? What the fuck did I just hear? How does that make, you really have to think about that. It's like, okay, what would cause you to say something like that, psychologically speaking? Why, do you think that like fucking Warren Buffett is like posting inspirational memes on his Twitter when his stocks go down? It's like, no, he's not. Fuck. He's posting some Lexington Steel gifts is what he's doing. No, I mean that's a completely different game. Completely different game, because he's also an active investor, not a passive investor, which a lot of people don't understand when they fucking repost that goddamn meme saying, be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. Like, okay, all right, so I'm gonna guess that you're talking about this situation as being greedy when others are fearful. Okay, let me show you a chart. Explain this, sir. This is Dogecoin. What the fuck is this, man? This thing's still trading above 10 cents, so so there's that. Yeah, man, Dogecoin. Get ready for the full retrace. It's going down below 10 cents in about a year and a half. Very likely. But Krown, it's bouncing. Yeah, you also have a reversal in place too, and you have major 3 drives of bearish divergence there as well. Get ready for your 55 below 10 cents already. All right, I feel even better about that one now. Wait, is that the weekly TSI turning down? Is that 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence? Is that even the weekly getting below? Bullish. Hashtag this is bullish. All right, so enough picking on the doggy people of this world right now. Let's go back to Bitcoin and some shit that actually matters. This video is already 36 minutes long, but I do think this is a rather important one. So do we want to check out Ethereum today? Let's go back down to Bitcoin on short-term time frames. Just curious what momentum also is saying right here. 4-hour, technically upside angle as long as we're above 37, 120, 121.5, but when's our next closure? 2.5 hours or so. So yeah, this one's still kind of just consolidating right here. Do we see anything on the very low term time frames? Down on the hourly. About to cross down on the buy hourly in 38 minutes and 53 seconds, as long as we close below 37 at 650. 3 hour, same thing, as long as below 36.6. So kind of the 4 hours, the odd man out right now. And keep in mind that even on the very low term time frames, like the 2 and 3 hour, we have lower highs as long as we're below about about 38.5 now. So that would imply that if Bitcoin actually can close above here on like maybe even an hourly, yeah, probably even an hourly, 36.4 we'll call it, I would look for another run back up to about $40,000. But again, lower highs as long as below 41 on like time frames that actually fucking matter. For structure here, do we want to quickly look at Ethereum? Oh no. Oh my lord, man. Oh my lord. Yeah, so this is why Bitcoin's dominance is going up. Bitcoin dominance is going up is because altcoins are getting slacked more than Bitcoin right now. 4-hour death cross. It's very far away from price action. I'd say this is not a perfect one, but where'd my next level be for Ethereum if Bitcoin drops up to low here? I'd actually be looking for a test down somewhere between 18 and 1900-ish region. Let's see, do I have it marked off? I have this marked off. What the fuck is this from? I think I was trolling someone with this because that's a little bit too far from me. It's 1600, but we'll just pretend that didn't happen. How about that? Didn't I erased the trend line? It didn't happen. Didn't happen, bro. So yeah, let's mark it off right here. I think that'd be 19, about 1930-ish region. Where's our 1800-ish level back down around here? It looks like, so in this sort of order block territory, it looks like from this last major consolidation in March is where I'd be looking for, again, if Bitcoin breaks down significantly. That's where I'd be looking for Ethereum to kind of retry for a major low. But this is not looking like the picture of health and fitness right now. I'm curious what Mental Boss to say on this one as well. I mean, they're so fucking beat up. It really wouldn't take too much to get these babies to bounce. Yeah, same thing on 4 hour. I mean, really fucking low there, but 23.23 is still about $100 away from current price action. 3 hour fresh crossing down, 22.88. 5 hourly, 22.60. Hourly, 22.77. So that's the end of the video. All right, well, I think I'll leave it right there. Overall, again, let the trend be your friend right now. I don't think right now is the time to be a hero. Bitcoin, it could very easily rally back up to $39,000, but that is just another lower high. However, if we start to see some lower term timeframes, even an hourly close above 38.5, I would look for a run at the very least to 39.5 region, and perhaps even continuation to 40, but lower highs longs below $41,000. So that's kind of my major pivot for like a greater move. Above this lower high right here, I would look for a move up to $45,000. But again, I have to bring things back into back into focus with the way that CME closed on Friday. This speaks tremendous volumes to myself right here, as well as the volume right here too. No pun intended, but I really don't like this Friday closure, like very, very bad. And we can actually, I'll leave you with this. This will be the last thing that we do. Okay, we're gonna do is testing price of what? Not $69,000. How about that? Let's just say that, yeah. Let's open it up on 35.2 kind of. Okay, let's give it the benefit of the doubt and just give it where it closed. How about that? 36. We'll do that. So 36. And then we can see what 35.2 looks like as well. Okay, so where would the lower Trollinger band be at that point? 37.5, which is even on a lower high than 38.3 on even a fucking hourly. So I'll leave you with that. I do think that right now is, again, the time to be a bit more protective. The idea, if you are an investor right now, in my opinion, again, I'm not an investor myself, although I do hold I do hold bags, I suppose, that I guess I'll never sell. But I think right now is kind of the time to be a little more protective here. The idea is to survive. If you're an investor, if you're an investor, you probably shouldn't be looking at these charts right now, or this chart in this way. You should be looking at the monthly. And the monthly. Oh wait, we'll just disregard that again as well. Can't help myself, man. You should probably be looking at the monthly and zoom out, and you say, okay, look, this as far as the long term goes, that's what you're looking for. You're looking like 5-10 years down the road. No, Krown, that's way too long. Well, then you look at this and you say, okay, we're fucked. All right, I'm going to leave it right there. I'll be back on live tomorrow. We'll see where things open up. With that said, I want to wish you well. Take care and see you hopefully soon.